This is Mac OS Ken.
A halo of positivity around Apple shares. iFixit breaks the latest MacBook, and three tales from TV land. It is Tuesday, the 28th of October, 2025. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by NordLayer. Secure your network, block threats to your business, and save 10% with code MacOSKen-10 at nordlayer.com/MacOSKen. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSKen. 'Tis the season for raised Apple price targets, it seems. I told you yesterday about Wells Fargo raising its target on shares of the Cupertino company to $290. That was thanks to iPhone strength, services strength, and AI possibility. Now JP Morgan analyst Samik Chatterjee has traveled a shorter distance to arrive at the same place. Apple 3.0 ran part of a note he wrote on Monday. While he does acknowledge strength for the iPhone 17 line, Chatterjee sees a few factors contributing to the halo of positivity currently enjoyed by Apple shares. Those include no mass move by EU customers to third-party app stores and non-Apple payment solutions. In fact, his firm estimates that Apple's services revenue grew about 13% last quarter. Worry over the Google DOJ lawsuit is in the rearview mirror, and Apple seems to have dodged the tariff raindrops to this point. That was done through a combination of supply chain diversification and an increased pace of domestic investment, according to Chatterjee. Supporting the halo of positivity going forward, the analyst is looking for this week's Apple earnings call to feature robust, high single-digit revenue growth for both the recently ended September quarter and the ongoing December quarter. Because, yeah, we are in it. He's also looking for anticipated upsides to margins, thanks to largely dodging the tariff turmoil and growth for services. Mr. Chatterjee has an overweight rating on Apple shares. He used Monday's note to raise his price target on the shares from $280 to $290. Reports of iPhone Air production death may have been greatly exaggerated. I told you Monday of reports from Nikkei and from TF International analyst Ming-Chi Kuo that had Apple landing somewhere between slamming the brakes on iPhone Air production and driving the whole thing off a cliff. Now a piece from Apple Insider has analysts from TD Cowen saying they do not think so. The piece had the firm penning a note on Sunday to denounce the claims that iPhone production plans had shifted. According to Apple Insider, TD Cowen's report says that there are no changes to iPhone forecasts for October, taking a moment to emphasize that this included the iPhone Air forecasts. Indications in the piece are that the firm had expected Apple to order 3 million iPhone Air units for the September quarter and 7 million for the December quarter. That is still TD Cowen's forecast, according to the report. TD Cowen has a buy rating on Apple shares. The firm's price target on the shares is $275. A class action suit that's apparently been going on for close to 14 years has come to a sudden stop. A piece from Apple Insider says an antitrust case that started in 2011 and was just awarded class action status last year has seen that status revoked. The suit was sort of a same old, alleging that Apple had an unlawful App Store monopoly that prevented competition via third-party stores and caused prices to be raised on apps sold in Apple Store. As for the class action part, it's kind of convoluted. Basically, it could or would have included anyone in the US who had spent $10 or more on apps or in-app content. Judge Yvonne Gonzalez-Rogers granted the class action status last year, though her decision was reversed yesterday. by Judge Yvonne Gonzalez-Rogers. Hey, hang on a second, that's Judge Yvonne Gonzalez-Rogers' name. According to a report from Reuters, according to Apple Insider, errors were made in determining the size of those affected. See, why does how big they are matter? Oh, they mean how many. All right, I'm going to start again. Errors were made. So I'm starting again. Errors were made in determining the size of those affected versus unaffected, which gave incredible advantage to the plaintiffs. The judge decertified the class action status, stating the plaintiffs failed to provide a model capable of reliably showing class-wide injury and damages in one stroke. No word in the piece on plans from the plaintiffs. As for the defendant, Apple issued a statement saying they were pleased the court recognized the plaintiffs failed to demonstrate the alleged harm to consumers and decertified the class. Ads may be on their way to Apple Maps. Apple Insider ran a piece over the weekend highlighting a post from Bloomberg's Mark Gurman. He apparently used part of this week's Power On newsletter to say Apple plans to drop ads into the app as soon as next year. The claim, according to the report, is that starting as soon as 2026, Apple will allow businesses to pay to have their entries in some way displayed more visibly within Apple Maps. The piece on the piece says the initiative would reportedly resemble how developers can now pay to have their apps appear in searches within the App Store. In the case of Apple Maps, it's claimed that AI will be used to surface the most relevant ads to a user. While iFixit is far from calling the latest MacBook Pro a DIY dream, they do like the way things are headed. 9 to 5 Mac had the self-repair people breaking and trying to fix the M5 MacBook Pro released last week. The downside? Too many internals have to be removed to do a simple thing like take out the battery, according to the firm. That said, iFixit can see how battery replacement would be easier if Apple ever decides to release the battery as a standalone part. What really made them happy, though, was Apple releasing repair guides for the new MacBook the same day they released the new MacBook. That said, knowing how to wrestle a bear doesn't make wrestling a bear easy. The 14-inch M5 MacBook Pro gets a 4 out of 10 reparability rating from iFixit. If you want to see how it's done, the professional self-repair people have put up their teardown on YouTube. More news in a moment, but first a word from today's sponsor, NordLayer, a toggle-ready network security platform built for today's business. NordLayer combines VPN, access control, and threat protection in one easy-to-use platform. Personally, I love that threat protection idea. We did a whole segment recently on the checklist about how anti-phishing training at work is not working. Even if it is, though, and your team is on it, who wouldn't want more protection? NordLayer works to prevent malware, ransomware, and phishing from even getting to your team, which means less for everybody to worry about. All of that with no additional hardware, no huge setup, and 24/7 support. From a few people to 50 plus, NordLayer has various plans and pricing options for you. So get your business started. Get up to 22% off NordLayer yearly plans plus 10% on top with coupon code MacOSKen-10 at nordlayer.com/MacOSKen. Try it risk-free with their 14-day money-back guarantee. Keep your workers working safely and guard against outside threats with NordLayer. Get up to 22% off yearly plans plus 10% off with coupon code MacOSKen-10 at nordlayer.com/MacOSKen. The creators of Workflow have done it again, only they're doing it for somebody else this time. Workflow was an Apple Design Award winner, if memory serves. The Cupertino company liked it so much they acqui-hired the minds behind it, folded Workflow into iOS, and called it Shortcuts. The creator stayed with Apple for a few years, then left to form Software Applications, Inc. That firm made a splash over the summer when it showed off Sky, referred to in a piece from Cult of Mac as an AI assistant deeply integrated with macOS. Cutting to the chase, it doesn't seem like you will ever be able to run Sky. Software Applications has been bought by ChatGPT maker OpenAI for an undisclosed sum. As part of the acquisition, the piece says all members of Software Applications will join OpenAI. Instead of launching Sky as a standalone app, OpenAI plans to integrate its deep macOS capabilities directly into ChatGPT. We missed some Apple TV news over the past few days. What say we catch up on some of it, starting with a psychological thriller from a guy mostly known for comedy. Apple TV issued a press release last week saying its original films arm had landed the global rights to sponsor the aforementioned thriller starring and co-written by Jason Segel. Yes, the Jason Segel from Forgetting Sarah Marshall, How I Met Your Mother, at least one of the relatively recent Muppet movies, and Apple's own Shrinking. In Sponsor, the release says a guy makes a big mistake when he gets behind the wheel after partying too hard. A terrible accident leaves him with a choice: prison or a recovery program. Convinced he doesn't have a drinking problem, he begrudgingly shows up to his first meeting and searches for a sponsor. Needless to say, he does find one, but since they're calling this movie a psychological thriller, I'm guessing the sponsor he finds isn't really what he expected. Directed and co-written by James Ponsoldt, the film will be shot somewhere in California. Without even being in front of the cameras yet, it could be years before Apple's sponsor turns up anywhere. From years in the future to years in the past, Apple's Academy Award-winning film CODA is headed to plastic. 9 to 5 Mac ran a piece last week that has the movie getting the disc treatment, available on DVD, Blu-ray, and 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray. Pre-orders are up now. It'll ship next Tuesday, the 4th of November. And finally today, the New York Times is really excited about Vince Gilligan's Apple TV series Pluribus. 9 to 5 Mac highlights the paper's article on the series, which says the show is in many ways as big as modern TV gets. High budget, high concept, a deep character study that combines science fiction, philosophy, and socio-political allegory. So, good science fiction then. A show about the most unhappy person on the planet, Pluribus reunites Better Call Saul creator Gilligan with that show's Rhea Seehorn. Apple has already ordered 2 seasons of the series, though it's unclear whether that's the show's run or just Apple's early level of commitment. The first 2 episodes of Season 1 of Pluribus hit Apple TV on Friday, the 7th of November. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by Nord Layer. Save 10% with coupon code macOSKen-10 at nordlayer.com/macOSKen. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media. Online at backbeatmedia.com. You can find me on Mastodon, macOSKen at mastodon.social. You can also send me an email, info@macOSKen.com. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Collect your tokens and let's get on to the next round.